OBS.
I'm still not getting your video.
On Discord?
Yeah, it's just kind of the two dots going in the circle around each other. Two squares.
That is strange.
Maybe it's just my computer.
It might be. Let's see. Now I gotta find the fucking live stream because I don't know where the fuck it is. There we go. Because I'm trying to be able to. Okay, live producer because there's. Facebook is fucking weird now. I don't understand this shit. Just want to watch the video.
I know my computer is garbage.
Okay, there we go. Now I have the video up and I can see it. And that
Yeah, because it's not even loading up the message chats.
Yeah, that's your computer being slow.
Yeah.
Share.
No, it's like failing to load them.
Copy link. I have to go out of here for a second.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm gonna try refreshing the app.
Send now. I just clearly the message went through. And let's see. Posting. Alright, so now it's also posted on the Facebook group. And we're up. So, Ruggs, let's kick this off with this story time that you had to tell us about.
So, you know me, I avoid confrontation whenever possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on TikTok one day, and still new to the whole, like, the way it works.
Yeah.
So this kid posts a video from the Newsroom, you know, the show where Jeffrey Daniels plays like a news anchor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the first 15 minutes of episode 1 where he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you why America is the greatest country in the world." Probably the quote of that movie is one of the reasons, or quote of that show is one of the reasons why it became so popular right off the bat, because of the first 15 minutes of episode 1.
Uh-huh.
So the funny thing is that Steven Crowder, a couple of years later, actually did a video saying, "Okay, let me analyze this and actually tell you what the truth is."
And I think I've seen the Crowder video you're talking about.
Yeah, so he pretty much debunks absolutely all of it, and he says, like, "Oh, some of this is anecdotal and doesn't really mean anything, and some of this is like, yeah, it's true, but at the same time, it's not exactly negative."
Mm-hmm.
So he goes through and he destroys the whole argument. So the person that posted that video, I said, "Oh, hey, Crowder debunked this years ago," and he says, like, "Oh, like," and he just gets into an argument. He's like, "Oh, like, you're not providing any sources." I'm like, "Well, the fact that I told you that there's evidence against this should provoke you to search for it."
Well, not
like,
even that. The fact that you said Crowder debunked this, that's the source right there. I mean,
yeah, but the kid just decided not to look it up.
Well, yeah.
He basically got me. He's like, "You're not saying anything. Like, you're just saying that somebody debunked it." Yeah, because I don't have the link in my mind. I'm not gonna go look. I'm not gonna look for it for you. You can do that on your own because you are capable of the research, and it's not my job to, you know, filter your channel.
Yeah.
And that's basically how it ended. He was just like, "Oh, you're not even saying anything." I'm not here to say anything. I'm just saying, I'm giving you a hint that somebody else has already proven you wrong. You're getting mad at me that I didn't provide that proof for you.
Yeah.
I don't get paid to prove people wrong. So I was like, as soon as he wrote that, I just stopped.
God, that's a job I would love too. I would love to have a job of just getting paid to prove people wrong.
Oh yeah, if I was getting paid to do that, I would.
Oh, I'd make a fucking killing doing that. Oh, that sounds like Cody. Cody.
I'm just gonna have to go through my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, so on to my wonderful things that I discovered over the last couple of days was the whole thing with robot dogs going to be patrolling an airbase in Florida. Because, what could possibly go wrong there?
Well, based on the video that you sent me, there's going to be some like hardcore like threats and ninja act.
Well, starting with the fact that of all states that you could have picked to do this in, you picked Florida. Florida.
Yep.
Like if I had to pick a state to test run, I mean, I guess if you wanted, I guess it's like letting the lower enlisted army test anything. Test it under the worst conditions possible. And the other thing I found interesting, Ruggs, which you might find this interesting, it is not the Boston Dynamic dogs that they're using.
Wait, there's another company that makes robots?
It is from a company called, so you saw the one about the actual military-esque ones they're going to be using, right?
Yeah, the mules.
No, the video I sent you a few minutes ago. With
The one where it's like the surfer kid is like putting his voice to the robots and being like, yeah.
That one, yes. That one is that's the Boston Dynamics ones, the bright yellow ones.
I know. I follow them quite extensively.
One of the other videos I sent you is of these new ones that are actually going to be used at Tyndall Air Force Base.
You see, as soon as I hit the first link, it wouldn't show me the other two links you sent me.
Oh, that sounds like frickin' Discord.
Because I couldn't figure out where you sent those links to.
Okay, so let me try this real quick.
Yeah, I couldn't find the other channels.
All right. Where did I send those? What am I doing? I literally have the video up on my screen. I can just copy the link again.
What channel did you post it in, though?
I messaged it directly to y'all.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So there's the first one. This is the one I was talking about right now. These are the ones that are actually going to be used on Tyndall Air Force
Oh, yeah, they're not going
Base.
to load up on my computer.
Probably not.
My computer's garbage.
Well, you'll get to see it a few seconds behind Cody.
I've already
one's
seen
just
them.
got some, well, the newer ones. This just has some music in the background that I'm just going to turn off. But this is why I thought they were the Boston Dynamics ones. Everything about it looks like the ones from Boston Dynamics. But apparently these are coming, the ones actually being used on the airbase are from a company called Ghost Robotics, based out of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I smell a lot.
But they're really interesting pieces of tech, and they're impressive in everything they can do. I just wonder if Florida is the best place to be testing these. Just given what?
Until Florida and pregnant one.
Yeah, it's just Florida is something. It's going to be on. These things are going to be on the news again because it's going to be something weird happened in Florida. And the news article I read said that they have some kind of a self-defense mechanism in them, but that was about all it explained.
So the way they're designed, they look way too similar to the Boston Dynamics one, which is why I think that maybe Boston Dynamics supply the robots, but the programming and all like the...
It's possible. It's possible. They didn't say specifically. The only thing they said is that the contract that Tyndall has is with Ghost Robotics.
It could be that Boston Dynamics supplies the robots, and when it comes to advanced mechanics and programming,
and the surveillance and everything, like the surveillance equipment, could be a Ghost Robotics modification to it.
Yeah, it could be like a secondary company's thing where it's like, oh, okay, kind of like Shelby. Like Shelby isn't a company in
Makes
of
sense.
its own.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
Shelby doesn't technically make cars; they make modified cars.
Exactly. That could be the reason.
That
But I
it would
will
make
be
sense.
looking.
It would make sense. Well, while we wait for Rugs, we're gonna watch one of my all-time favorite videos. Whenever we see these damn robots, is this wonderful piece of
lab, dude. Just gotta open this fucking
beautiful
door,
material
see what we
right
got
here.
Yeah, the standard door handle. Hey, what are you doing, Carl? Let go, dude. I'm trying to open the door. Fuck. Carl, fuck. Dude, stop. Seriously, let me just get this thing up. Don't try to shut the fucking door, Carl, dude. I'm trying to kill the humans. Let me just get this shit. Fuck, dude. Let me use my snake robot arm and just slide it open. What are you doing, dude? Stop. Stop it, dude. No, don't pull on my string. Ah, my ass, dude. Stop it. Carl, stop, dude. Seriously. Such a dick.
I've seen this video
Pull
so
up my
many
ass
times, and
now
it's
I
still
gotta
funny.
reset and shit, dude. Fuck. God damn it. What is it? Okay, we got the standard handle. Let me just get a little bit closer here. Clamping. There we are. Okay, Carl, stay the fuck away from me, dude. Okay. Here we go. Let me just get my snake arm around there. Carl, don't you dare come fucking near me, dude. You fucking asshole. I'm gonna kill the humans, and you might be first. I just gotta pick up.
I don't care how many times I see that one; it's still funny. So this is probably the part that's going to open up some interesting discussion, especially just from the different people we have just in this call right now. So we'll wait for Rugs to get back, because this is where it's going to get interesting. Oh, this is awkward.
I'm gonna say it again. How about them Cowboys?
And I'm going to say it again. Fuck the Cowboys. But, yeah, it's... So what we're going to be going into next is the, just recently they made the announcements for the nominees for the Video Game Awards. Or the Game Awards. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out, because there's some games that are up for awards that I maybe don't 100% agree with, and some games in there that I think are missing.
Yeah, so I don't really follow that stuff a whole lot, so you might have to kind of catch me up real quick.
I don't usually. So you know what like the Emmy Awards and the Grammy Awards are and stuff like that. It's the exact same thing.
Country Music Awards.
Yeah, exact same thing, but for video games. It's the exact same thing. So there's the different categories. They nominate games, then people vote on them. So that's what we were just getting into, Rugs, was the discussion of the Video Game Awards.
I'm not gonna lie, I stopped watching it a couple of years ago, and from what I've heard going on recently, I'm not gonna be watching it this year.
I have never actually watched them. I do check every once in a while just to kind of see who won what and, you know, what awards different games got. I've never actually watched them.
So for me, the VGAs is where you go to see like the newest trailers and shit that's coming out a year from now. So that's one of the main reasons why I ever watched the VGAs. Like, I don't care who won what, because it's all opinion based. Like, a game that's amazing to one person, it could be a complete, you know, garbage to somebody else. But they'll usually show like, oh, world premiere trailer or world exclusive or gameplay trailer, and they'll basically say, oh, like global announcement, and they'll announce a game that's coming out, and it'll be the first time anybody hears about this game. You won't see it on YouTube. You won't see it on the company's website. So for the VGAs, that's the only reason I watch, is to see what all the trailers of the games that were coming out.
See, I never knew they did that, which might give me maybe a reason to watch it, because I always watched E3 for that stuff.
Yeah, so it transitioned to E3 like not too long after the VGAs were like sort of exclusive with it. Then when E3 started getting like really, really big and super exclusive, like unless like you were a reporter or an influencer or a Twitch streamer, you weren't allowed to go to E3 because you had to be invited to. You couldn't purchase tickets for, which actually hopefully might change because of fucking COVID.
Okay. See, I never kept up with it that well. But, so for, I don't know if you've looked, have you seen the nominees for this year?
What was that?
Have you seen the nominees for this year?
I just don't pay attention to it because now companies realize they can just upload straight to YouTube, and YouTube will unleash all.
and I can follow companies independently, so I don't really need to watch the VGAs because like the awards they get, especially like what the upcoming awards, like I'm sorry, but if a fucking New York governor can receive an Emmy for how he like mishandled the fucking COVID crisis,
I heard about that.
I have very little, I have very little hope for the VGA.
Well, the one thing I do like about the Game Awards is, unlike things like the Oscars and the Emmys and all that, most of them nowadays are still fan voted. So, one thing I was a little surprised to see, but at the same time I wasn't, is Game of the Year. First of all, freaking Animal Crossing's in there.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah. And then there's a game called Hades from a company called Supergiant that I've never heard of before. I guess they're also up for Game of the Year. The only two that I see that I would even consider in the running for Game of the Year is Ghost of Tsushima is on there, and Last of Us Part 2 are both up for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I knew Last of Us would be in the running. Ghost of Tsushima, thankfully it has an honest running. No one can really talk shit about it, but the only reason I think Last of Us 2 is on there is just because of all the SJW shit that's in the game.
There is a lot of that, but the thing I never played Ghost of Tsushima. That one, for some reason I can't pronounce that today.
Tsushima.
Tsushima. That's probably why. I was probably trying to overpronounce the T for some reason.
The T is
Don't
silent.
worry about the T.
So, those two I could easily see being in there because I did hear a lot of good about Ghost of Tsushima. Still gonna fuck that up. Either way. But Last of Us, one of the things that I will say definitely puts it in the running for an award like that is simply how well the game was built as far as the graphics and the story. I mean, it looked great. But other than that, I mean, it wasn't my favorite game ever. I definitely enjoyed it, and it definitely had a good story to it.
Yeah, you see, like, I never finished the first one, so I didn't even bother getting the second one.
I liked them both. Like I said, they're not my favorite games only because they are a little bit slower paced, but they do have a good story to them. And then the other thing that I find is weird, so when you go on to the next category, it's Best Game Direction, which is apparently awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. So Ghost of Tsushima is on there, which makes sense because it was a unique game. But you've got games like Final Fantasy VII Remake. How is
Hasn't
it
it already had its run?
Well, and that was my thing, especially for I could see that being up because that is also up for Game of the Year. But how is a remake going to even be in the running for Best Game Direction? Because it's a remake of the same game, so there's nothing new and unique about it. The same with Last of Us Part 2 is that it's a sequel. It's not new and innovative. It's a follow-up game. Then you've got Best Narrative, which again is Tsushima's on there, Part 2, Final Fantasy. That game Hades, which I may have to check out just because I'm seeing it all over these lists. And something called 13 Sentinels. Also never heard of it.
13 what?
13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim.
Never heard of it.
I haven't either. But it's up
Well, I think
it's up for Best Narrative.
Too, because there are definitely some games that open up in Europe and Asia that are not released to the American market for whatever reason. Maybe
Doesn't
it's because
surprise
like
me.
the companies are limited. Yeah, maybe because the companies are limited or whatnot. But
And
Yeah, I have
then
no-
same
I don't
thing
know.
with Best Art Direction. It's literally the same games with the only difference being something called Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I don't know.
kind of sounds familiar, but I'm not exactly sure. On that.
Well, it was developed by Xbox Game Studios, which is probably why we don't know a whole lot about it, because I'd imagine it was an Xbox exclusive.
Okay.
Then you get into Best Score, Best Audio. Don't really care about those.
I kind of do.
Well, the ones for score, not surprisingly, Doom is up there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Doom's gonna win.
And then it's Final Fantasy Remake, which I feel like is not surprising it's up there because Final Fantasy has a very unique score that it kind of uses all the time, but it's very distinct to the game. Last of Us Part 2 is on there for some reason, but I don't really remember anything music-wise standing out in the game. To me, the score for Last of Us 2 was far more subtle. I didn't really notice it.
What is score, by the way?
Soundtrack, basically. The only difference between a
Okay.
score and a music score is usually just purely instrumental,
Okay.
whereas music is music. Then they've got Best Performance, which is, I guess, the voice actors. One of them is being the guy who, I guess, is the main character from Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his name. And then you've got the two lead characters from Last of Us, Abby and Ellie. The guy from Hades, and the guy who played Miles Morales in the new Spider-Man. Which I can't really say anything on because I haven't played it yet.
Nope.
Then you got Games for Impact, which is for a thought-provoking game with pro-social meaning or message. 5 games I've never heard of, so we're just gonna kind of roll right on past that one. And then this is where it gets a little interesting. So they've got an award apparently for Best Ongoing, which is awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that involves the player experience over time.
Wait, what was that again?
It's that there's an award for Best Ongoing, which is awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that involves the experience over time. So
All 76.
basically,
live service award.
yeah, basically the best games as a service. Destiny 2 is on there, which
Debatable.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about that.
I don't know. I played a little bit of it before, and then uninstalled the game, come back, remembered where I was, and then all of a sudden where I was and everything that I was supposed to be doing was all of a sudden no longer in the game.
Yeah,
So-
sounds about right. Another game that's on there,
I would say, yeah, that's in the.
which I don't know. I mean, I guess I almost understand how, is No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
That
But-
definitely.
Well,
improved a lot,
it just
but
had,
it was,
like-
one huge update.
That's what I said, that's why I said I'm not
Yeah.
sure exactly why it's in there. They had one major
Well,
update, but I wouldn't
what
really put them in
happened-
that ongoing category.
what happened is it was pretty much completely game changing. They added a lot of new coding and stuff.
Oh, no,
in
I
there that
completely
added new
understand that.
worlds. And it even changed, completely changed the environments of certain worlds.
Oh
like
yeah, no,
had.
I knew that. I knew it was a major, just absolute game-changing update that realistically, if we want to be honest, they probably could have released as a sequel. From what I understand, that changed enough of the game, they could have released it as a sequel and made it a whole new game.
Well, I don't know if a game like that would even be up for a sequel.
No, it wouldn't, because the first one,
Because
it needed to be an update to fix the game. I just don't think it should fall into that best ongoing category. And then your other ones are your big 3 that you would expect to see in there: Apex, Warzone, and Fortnite. I would
You can drop all
honestly,
those off.
Fortnite is trash.
I would expect, if I had to guess, I would expect Warzone or Fortnite to win, simply off of the size of their player base.
I don't know.
Yeah,
From
then you just
from
make
what
a
I've
popularity
seen,
contest instead of a fucking
Apex is
content
further up
base.
there than the other two.
Apex doesn't have as
From what
much
I've
of a
seen.
fan base anymore. Then you get into best indie games, which I guess Hades is considered an indie game, which is actually kind of impressive to see them up for best indie game and for game of the year. That's actually kind of an impressive thing to see.
I'm assuming that Among Us.
Actually, Among Us I have not seen yet. However, Fall Guys is on there, which I could see getting best indie game just because of the following it got so quickly.
Yeah, it took Among Us a couple of years.
Oh, there's Among Us. Among Us is up for best mobile game. So best game playable on a mobile device.
It's probably going to get it.
The only one, well, the only one I haven't even heard of is Legends of Runeterra. And then there's Pokemon Cafe, which could do well just because it's Pokemon. Apparently that game Genshin Impact is available on mobile. And apparently that got really big really quick. I don't even fully know what it is.
I've never even heard of it.
I've heard of it.
My friends played it on PlayStation, and all I can say is that the only reason they played it is for big game.
Well, yeah, doesn't Wildcat play it?
Yep.
And then the other two games up there are Call of Duty Mobile and Among Us. And I could see Among Us winning just for how quickly it got so big.
Call of Duty shouldn't count because it's been out.
No, it's been out for a while, but it's not of the... These aren't of the year. This is just best mobile game. So I guess that's why it's still on there. Because if you wanted to get into that technicality, Among Us has been out for 2 years. Among Us came out in 2018.
Did not know.
And then the next one is best community support.
Yep. That's strictly a fucking developer, like, jerking off award, like, here's the best for stroking.
Yeah, which, you want to know what game is shockingly not included on the list for best community support? There's a very large lack of Warzone. Because, you know, they care so much about the community, and they want to make sure everybody's happy.
Nobody cares about the community.
No.
Until the stock market prices go down, they don't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see No Man's Sky maybe get a slight advantage on this one, just because of how many changes they made, and a lot of it was, granted, they're, by technicalities, a lot of what was changed was, you know, what the community wanted, but realistically, what was changed was everything that was broken, which is what everybody wanted fixed. And then you've got Apex, Destiny, Valorant, Fortnite, and Fall Guys.
Valorant just came out. They haven't been around long enough to...
Yeah, they're on there though.
Of course.
But from what I understand about Valorant, be it that even though it's new, from what I understand, they're very heavily community involved right now. But it's because they're still technically in like beta phase. So they're doing.
It's not a real game.
No, it really should. But I think they did. I think they did go full release. I don't know. I tried to play it and I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I tried it for like a day or two and I couldn't. I was like, this is crap.
And then your next one is best VR and AR experience, which can't really give an input on because I don't have VR or AR systems.
I don't use mine.
I mean, I know which one Ruggs would vote for simply because it's Iron Man.
No, because I did VR when I was in Kuwait, so I have a little bit of knowledge, but not a lot.
Well, apparently Iron Man is on there. There's a game called Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Iron Man, Star Wars Squadrons, and some Walking Dead game.
So
basically
Squadrons
everything.
And the Half-Life one, I can guarantee you one of those is going to win because they were highly rated, and anyone who's because I followed it. So
It's basically anything that's on Oculus, not PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Well, Star Wars Squadrons on PlayStation VR.
It is?
Mhm.
I might have to check it out.
Because Ruggs
Alright,
has
so-
it, but non-VR.
Yeah, so Squadrons is boring if you're not playing VR. Like, it's literally just like a slog. But I
So
could
it's
see them
designed for
winning
VR.
just based on, like, label recognition. Iron Man, I don't think they're going to win, but they're definitely going to get a lot of votes.
So
The
here's...
other two major ones are going to win, specifically on fucking label recognition.
Oh, yeah. So here's the next one that's kind of interesting, and I think it's going to come down to which way they decide to go with it. Is innovation in accessibility, which is basically anything that makes the game more playable by, anybody who would have issues playing a game. And oddly enough,
What?
basically for like disabilities and whatnot.
Okay.
And oddly enough, and I'd have to look more into it, apparently Valhalla is on this list for this one. So I would assume that's basically because you know how Xbox has their whole control pad that they make that can be basically custom modified into just about anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'd assume this is games that work better with that. Because the three that I know, there's Valhalla, Last of Us Part 2, and Watch Dogs Legion. The other ones are a game called Grounded and Hyperdot. So that could be
Yeah,
an
those are
interesting
unknowns to
one.
me, so I can't really
Yeah.
give input.
And then you've got Best Action, which is for the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat. This is going to seem shocking, Ruggs, but what game do you think is in there focused primarily on combat?
What?
Doom. That's
Again,
all
not
Doom
surprising.
is. That's all Doom is. And then you've got that game Hades again. It just keeps coming up. Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage 4.
Wow.
Best Action Adventure could be an interesting one. Because the first three are Valhalla, Tsushima, and Spider-Man.
Oof. That's gonna be a toss-up between Tsushima and Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it's Spider-Man does have the leg up because they did win Game of the Year last year.
Yeah, and they just released a new one.
Mm-hmm. And that's the
With
one that's
Miles
up.
Morales.
Yeah, that's the one that's up is Miles Morales.
Yeah, that's gonna win just because of SJW point.
Is it pretty heavy on that?
Yep.
I'll still end up playing it. I just haven't gotten it yet. Best role playing. The only two I even
No, but
recognize
back
are
to that last one.
yeah.
So I have Miles Morales, and it's a great game. Like I like the character, I like the way the story's going. The only way I think it's going to win because of that is because one, Miles Morales, obviously Afro fan, and two, there's a street in New York that they renamed Bozeman Street or Bozeman Way in light of Chadwick Boseman, the actor that played Black Panther. And three, toward the end of the game, there's a mural that you see in the beginning of the game that's just the regular, Peter Parker Spider-Man. At the end of it, it's Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and turning into a giant Black Lives Matter.
Oh, of course it is.
Yep.
Then you've got best
Again,
role playing.
I don't care, but that's probably why it's in.
Yeah. Then you've got best role playing. Final Fantasy and Genshin Impact are the only ones I even recognize. Other than that, it's Persona 5, Wasteland, and Yakuza. Best fighting games. Nothing interesting. I think this is where we just get into the weird ones. Okay, best multiplayer. That one,
COD.
well, it includes anything multiplayer. So the 5 that are on here are Animal Crossing, Among Us, Warzone, Fall Guys, and Valorant. I don't think Valorant will win strictly because of its size and how limited it was and being able to get on.
I agree.
But I know Animal Crossing was a big one, but that's restricted to just the Switch. And then Among Us got big, but I still think just on sheer numbers it would have to be Warzone. Yeah. Oh, they're actually doing one this year. I don't know if this is a new thing. There is a award now for Content Creator of the Year.
Meaning what?
Like streamer.
Oh.
For any streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2020.
Let's vote for
whoever
us.
has the most fucking viewers.
The first one is Alana Pierce, who I've never heard of. Then J. Ann Lopez, who I've also never heard of. The next two I have heard of quite a bit would be Nick Merckx and Tim the Tap Man.
Tim the Tap
I think I've heard of that one.
And then Valkyrae. I feel like I've seen her somewhere, but couldn't tell you.
It sounds a little familiar.
And then best debut game, which is for the best debut game created by a new independent developer studio. So, an indie game. The best fucking indie game. Okay, apparently we're doing that twice. They're also doing best esports athlete, who I know none of them.
Useless. Esports is dying.
Oh, the next one's even better, Rugs. Best esports coach.
What? What?
And the first dude, and this is actually just kind of comical. The first picture is some guy named Danny Sorensen. Motherfucker's wearing 2 headsets. Then you've got best esports event. I'm sure. And then best esports game. That one could be interesting. I feel like it would go to Modern Warfare just because of how big it is. But then
Did
you've
Rugs
got.
drop out?
I think he's still here.
No, he dropped out.
And then you've got CS:GO, Fortnite, League of Legends, and Valorant. Esport hosts. I don't watch any of that. Esports team. And that is
now
it.
I'm back. The best esports what?
Oh, it goes way into esports. Esports athlete, esports coach, esports event, esports game.
Wait, there are coaches?
Oh, so we lost you there. Yes, apparently there's
So
coaches.
I thought you said coach, but you said co, and that's when I lost you.
Yeah. Best esports coach. Because that's
Useless. Don't even care.
that's a thing. Well, I told
So
I told both y'all, but I guess only Cody heard it. The first dude in the picture is wearing 2 headsets.
Wait, what?
I don't understand it. I've been looking at this picture for a minute trying to figure it out. So he's got one headset on, because Cody, I don't know if you can see the one I'm looking at right now.
Nope.
Okay, so because I'm not actually using my microphone, I can do this. So he's got one headset on like this, like tilted way back with the microphone sticking up in the air. And then the other headset, he has like this down around his neck, but the mic's out in front of his face. So I'm not sure what the logic there is, but yeah.
He wants to look as professional as possible.
One's tuned for game audio, the other one's tuned for team audio. Is the only way I can possibly just.
Yeah, but then he's talking into
How's
the
it-
one that's for... If that were the case, he would have the team audio one on his head to listen to it and talk into it. But he's got one on his head, like on his ears, that he's not talking in, and then one around his neck that he has the microphone in front of his face.
So, again, the only way I can justify that is the one around his ears is for game audio, so he can hear footsteps. And he communicates with the one around his neck because he just probably doesn't feel like he needs to listen, or maybe the audio is low enough so he can hear.
I
the other headset.
could maybe see that. Like, he's specifically doing call-outs, and he doesn't necessarily need to be able to hear what the players are saying. He's just
Yeah,
there
that's
feeding
what I'm
them
thinking.
information.
Yep.
All right, well, that is everything I had that I wanted to cover. Did y'all have anything you wanted to mention for today's show?
Anything big on the tech world right now? I did a little bit of research earlier today, but I don't know if you guys covered anything already.
I didn't see anything overly exciting from the little bit of looking that I could do.
All right, so from the little that I heard, so for PS5s, I know like a big thing came out either earlier today or late yesterday about how like PS5 is just completely out of stock. There's not going to be any until next year. Sony actually released that they would have more releases before the end of the year.
Okay, so like maybe like Christmas time frame, maybe.
Yeah, and if anyone out there is looking for a PS5, I would highly suggest one, downloading Twitter. I know it's going to hurt. I only follow like 3 people on Twitter. And there's a Twitter page called PS5 Stock Alerts, and they're actually pretty good because they'll let you know a few days ahead of time, one, where it's going to be sold, how it's going to be sold, and they'll actually drop the exact links so that your browser is good to go and ready to go.
Oh, nice.
So you can try and beat the bots, which is what I'm following right now. And if anyone out there is listening right now, Walmart Online is doing a release at 9 p.m. tonight. So I would highly suggest that just have the PS5 page on Walmart up on your browser. It'll say, hey, these are going to be released at 9 p.m. I know
Time
the
zone?
bots suck. EST. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd
Eastern
assume
Standard Time.
Eastern since that's where he's at.
Yeah. So just have those ready. Just be prepared. I don't know how much they have in stock. Don't get your hopes up. But this is probably the last shot you're going to have until probably after Christmas, until a major release is up. But
Yep.
I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. So we'll be able to release as soon as I get those times. I'll be able to release those times to all y'all.
Sounds like a plan. Well, we definitely went well over our planned 15 to 20 minutes. This is going to be a nightmare to render out for YouTube. But we're going to get it done.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Sucks to suck.
They'll be fine. I'm the one who's got to render it for YouTube.
It sucks to suck.
Fuck both of you. All right, well, that's another successful video-ish. It was definitely an improvement on last time, so we'll call it a win.
Yep.
Um,
Aside from my computer
Fucking
issues.
Victory.
yeah. And only because so many people found it as entertaining last time. Shut up, Cody. We're going to have to work that into every stream. All right. I'll catch y'all later.
I was trying to figure out what I did.
Nothing this time. Nothing this time. Several things last time, just nothing this time. All right, peace.
I was just kind of here to look pretty this time anyway. So later.